Hello and welcome back, my friends. A incredibly interesting new day has arrived in Empires and Puzzles. And why is it so interesting? Well, they finally dropped for the very first time the Valiant Vegetables event. That's correct. The veggies are here. So let's take a look at what it is that they've decided to add. Now, we all know how frustrating the first two vegetables could be. Where are they at? They're back here somewhere. Oh, there they are. These two guys are absolutely crazy and annoying to deal with, so I'm sure more of them will be all of the same. Now, as a reminder, there will also be a 3-star and a 4-star added. I'm not going to take time to review those. You can look at those on your own, but I will be doing individual videos for each of these two new ones. So let's start out with our good friend here, Indigon. He looks to be a mushroom. I'm going to assume he's a mushroom. Anyways, he's going to be a blue monk. So we do like that ability to resist. That's always helpful. But let's get into the Valiant Vegetable Family, or sorry, it is Valiant. It is Valiant. I'm sorry, I apologize. The Valiant Vegetable Family bonus. So the bonus is for 2 or 3 heroes. Fiends and Mega Fiends summoned by this character get +5, +10% attack. Fiends and Mega Fiends summoned by this character get +2, +3% health. So kind of increases the strength of the Fiends and Mega Fiends they summon, and we know that these guys do both, right? So it's kind of interesting how that works. Let's go ahead and continue on with our passives. Empowered resists special skill blocking. This character is immune to status ailments that prevent the use of special skills. They also gain 450 boosted health and 5% mana for each time they resist. Okay, so basically you can't stop these guys from doing their specials with things like silence or paralyze or anything like that. Now, again, this falls under the category of stopping the special. So things like Bernadette's Cursed Paintings or Mindless Attack and Mindless Heal, these effects will all still continue to land because they don't actually stop a special skill, they replace it. I've gone over this in quite a few videos, but I always like to recap that because a lot of people still don't understand the difference there. They're replacing your special, but they are still allowing you to cast it, and thus that effect can still go through. Okay, then also we have here a Seedling Summoner passive, and this summons the Seedling Fiend every turn to a random enemy. The Seedling Fiend evolves into a Sprout Fiend after 2 turns, then evolves into a Blossom Mega Fiend after 2 turns. So basically, these are delayed for 1 turn each time they get healing. So more or less, this is just summoning little seedlings. These little seedlings are going to continue to grow, and it can be absolutely devastating to try to keep up with this. You usually have to bring quite a bit of healing versus these guys to try to clear these fiends, or some sort of fiend removal effects. But regardless, I usually just look at it like I got to kill that vegetable as soon as possible to stop more fiends from spawning during my fight. So, as a reminder here, it says Seedling Fiend, 50% attack, 20% health. The Sprout Fiend will be 75% attack, 30% health, and the Blossom Mega Fiend will be 250% attack and 60% health. So once they get to that Mega Fiend range, they're having a bad day, that is for sure. All right, down here in the 8th power department, we do get attack up. So for the first 6 turns, we are going to get that plus 20% attack, allowing his at least usually first special to hit harder. Speaking of specials, what are we looking at here? We have Brand of Reckoning. Oh gosh, he's going to mushroom stamp you? Listen, guys, I'm just saying that's what's in his hand. That's okay. All right. So at average speed, it's going to be dealing 300% damage to all enemies. Deals an additional 5% damage for each Fiend or Mega Fiend owned by the enemies. Up to 350% damage total. So you can get up to 350%, I guess, to all enemies. And then it says it also does 2 max stacks here. The first one says all damage enemies receive is increased by 6%. And then all allies have 4% increased mana generation. Okay, so let's talk about the guy. First things first, you might feel a little underwhelmed by this special. Operating average speed, 300 to 350% damage to all enemies is not like over the top powerful, and I would agree with that. It's not. But I would say this. That's not the only thing this guy is doing, okay? Don't be wrapped up with just that alone. Remember, he is producing the Fiend every turn that your opponents have to deal with and the additional damage that you get out of those, right? But he's also creating 2 stackable buffs. Now, granted, I don't think you're going to get to a 10 stack when you're operating at average speed, right? Like, you're probably only casting your special maybe 4 times a fight, let's just say. I mean, maybe more if it's really long, but like, let's just say 4. So by the time you cast it 4 times even, you're looking at 24% increased damage to all enemies and 16% increased mana generation. It's nice, but it's not like game-changing, right? His stackable buffs are just kind of like a little bit of icing on top of the cake. The cake is still probably good without the icing, but honestly, the icing just makes it that much better. Same sort of concept here. So where do I rate this guy on a scale of 1 to 10? God, those Spraying Fiends are just so powerful. Like, I feel like that really brings this guy up more. Normally, I would say he was at an 8, But due to the Fiend effects, like, he's probably closer to a 9. I think all these vegetables are just such a pain in the butt. Until they give us a better way to handle these Fiends, I think most of these guys are going to come in at like 9-ish. I mean, I might say 8.5 for this guy, but the truth is the Fiends probably just make him a 9. So just keep that in mind. You're probably looking at like a 9 out of this guy for right now. But I do want to warn everyone, like, these guys are going to have their day in the sun right now, right? Like, they very specifically are releasing this family to be powerful. So they know there isn't really a counter in the meta, and that is a intentional shift in philosophy, or an intentional design, I guess would be a better way of putting it, within the philosophy, right? So by releasing this family with very few counters to them, they're going to be highly desired at the beginning. You're going to want to pull for them, you're going to want to spend money, etc., etc. It's a smart business play, right? Understand that. But also understand this, much like every other concept in this game, these guys are going to get their moment to shine, and then whether it be 6 months or a year down the road, there's going to be counters released to these characters. It's the same thing with like the Mega Minion characters that sort of dominated the meta for a while, right? That's in general how it goes. So just understand that like these guys are going to have a solid and really powerful time where they're going to run the meta for a while, and it will be fantastic to pull these guys. Just don't expect them to be indefinitely running the meta, okay? Like all things, it's going to be reciprocal. Something else will come, but just understand that these guys are really cool right now. So congratulations if you pull this guy. Definitely level him up. Definitely enjoy this while you can, and especially if you pull him immediately. Maximize your time in which he's going to be just absolutely rocking the meta. All right, well, thanks so much, guys. If you do like what I do, there's a little button at the bottom right. You just click that. You'll find me easier in the future. And if you're looking for the other review video, I do separate ones, so go ahead and keep your eyes peeled for that one. It should probably pop up in your feed as suggested or whatever the case may be. All right, see you guys.